good morning and welcome to another video, and welcome to what is going to be a breakdown of how I am training for a sub 3 hour marathon whilst doing my best to maintain or improve my top end strength. This morning is an upper body session. I'm actually getting back in the pool later on today for the first time in ages, just because I'm getting a bit of an itch. Perhaps there is a return to triathlon coming very soon. We will find out. Jamie's with me. Johnny will arrive here shortly soon. He's stuck in traffic. And we're going to crack on with an upper session. We've got a team meeting after this. I have some house viewings in the afternoon, swim later on, and at some point during the day I will talk you through my next sort of 4 weeks of training before we reassess, see what's working, see what isn't working, see how I'm feeling, and go from there. So this is going to be a breakdown of my training split, I guess, given that I am now focusing very much on speedier running rather than pure ultra endurance, and there's going to be much more of a strength dominant focus versus the training that you've seen on the channel for the past 3 to 6 months, give or take. So I'm going to start benching over there right now. Johnny's just arrived and told me he's torn his hamstring. How many weeks out from Peru?
2.
2 weeks out from Peru. That's good. That's good.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, that is excellent.
I made it hard. What are you filming?
Your magic monkey.
Magic monkey. It tells you Ash drew that, doesn't it?
What? Did you?
Yeah.
Your wife drew this?
Yeah.
You just put it on your neck?
Yeah. So I want a monkey magic on my neck. And we were like, what should we get? What should we get? She did that. So I took it to my man and he tattooed it on my neck.
Were you under the influence?
No.
Of your wife, of love. Okay, that's me done, and I need to return the tripod to the podcast studio, otherwise Jamie will have my head. Christ, lights everywhere, curtains. Very well equipped podcast studio now, but it's not half the manoeuvre. Not half hard to manoeuvre, rather. Okay, so positive overall, everything felt good. I'm probably going to feel pretty sluggish in my first swim for a while later on today, just because I'm going to have some fatigue in me, but the sooner I can get used to doubling those down, that fits best within the way that I want to structure programming. So I'm going to get some breakfast on board, get prepared for the team meeting, and I will see you then. We can talk through everything that's happening next. Okay, so what I'm going to do is break down what the next sort of 4 to 6, maybe 8 weeks of training is going to look like for me, with the caveat being that a lot of this structure is taken from the Strength and Marathon training plan on Omnia's website. There is a link in the description down below where you can get a sample week delivered straight to you. So check that out if you want to see exactly what the components of all of this are. But I'm just going to talk through an overview with a few caveats on the things that aren't a part of the Strength and Marathon training plan, given how I want to focus on things over the summer. Okay, kicking things off on a Monday, heavy lower body session and track intervals. Starting with deadlifts on the lower body day. I can't really do heavy squats at the moment because I've got a bit of a challenge with my hip, but deadlifts are fine. Then a lunge variation. At the moment I'm doing front rack reverse lunges, whether it's Bulgarians 1 week, whether it's split squats, whether it's dumbbell split squats. play around with that depending on what I'm focusing on. And then there's some sort of hinge variation, as there would be in the strength marathon training plan. And then the track, it's kind of anywhere from 1200s to 200s are the focus at the moment, as I just reacclimatise to some speedier work, just really getting used to my cadence, really opening up my gait, and then have some 50 to 100s at the end to just drill top end pacing, because I will probably want to go for a best effort mile or something like that over the summer, let's be honest. Tuesday, heavy upper body and swim, which is asterisked, as is this bike and this swim, because that is not part of the strength of marathon training plan. These are additional components of my week that I'm adding in just to actually condition me a little bit more in swimming and riding my bike, because I'm going to Spain and want to be able to swim in the ocean and ride on roads that are much better than here in the UK. And honestly, I just want to get out on some big, enjoyable bike rides over the summer. But we'll get onto that. So heavy upper body, bench press dominant, heavy rows, some dumbbell press variations, some pull variations, sort of vertical pulling, whether that's pull down, whether it's chin ups, pull ups, whatever it is, we play around with that on a sort of week by week basis and build in sort of 4-week blocks. And then assistance work like lateral raises, tricep, focused work, etc., etc. That's kind of where my focus is at the moment. And to be honest, upper body, most of my strength focus is on back movements, because I'm quite keen to replace deadlifts with Atlas stones at some point soon, but more on that to come. So make sure you subscribe so you can see it. In the evening, I've got swimming, which is anywhere from 100 to 400s, no more than about 2 kilometers total work, and some easy swimming at the back end as well. As I've said, asterisk, because it's not marathon specific prep, but it's something I want to just reacclimatise to so I can swim for fun and enjoyment over the summer, because, you know, I'm a fair weather open water swimmer these days. Wednesday, Zwift session in the morning, nothing too intense for the time being, but I will up the intensity on that as I go, just to bump my FTP up a little bit and be more and more comfortable on longer rides. And whilst this is quite easy, I've got my run after that, so I'm kind of just getting used to a little bit more fatigue in my legs as I sort of rebuild that running capacity. Zone 3 or fartlek focus at the moment. For example, this week I've got 45 minutes at zone 3, just sort of keeping it steady and going with the motion there. And yeah, I'm just kind of choosing a Zwift session each morning, or just sitting there for 45 to 60 minutes and just spinning my legs out, really. Thursday, volume swim, 1,000 meters or more, kind of just doing what I want to do there. That's probably going to start being in the open water as the weather gets a bit better and I can find the time to be able to get the wetsuit in the back of the truck, etc., and just enjoy that. That's really just there as a way to start the day more than anything else, training focused. And then just easy zone 2 run, kind of a bit of an active recovery day, but overall just building volume and work capacity in general terms. Friday, full body, and anyone doing any Omnia training plans will know how much a full body Friday is a core component. For me at the moment, front squats aren't giving me too much grief in my hips, so I'm keeping them in there. And then I basically have a massive chipper workout that is basically crying for time. So the exact details of that, you'll have to go and check the sample week out to see. But then I have a zone 2 run on fatigued, compromised legs after this, just again to add some volume, but get used to the sort of stimulus of running with completely destroyed legs. Saturday is my long zone 2 work, which at the moment is going to be around the sort of 5:30 per kilometer sort of pace, and that'll increase steadily over time. But yeah, for the time being, I've got 90 minutes this weekend, and I'm going to start building up from there. Obviously with the 250k prep, I've got a pretty high aerobic base, so I'm not too worried about this stuff. The quality of things like this and the quality of things like this track and zone 3 work all becomes really important. But yeah, that is a core staple for me. Saturdays for the past 5 years have always been zone 2, long, low intensity, steady state focused, and it's going to be no different with this marathon prep. Sunday, I always try and take as rest. The only exceptions to that will be if, for whatever reason with travel, I kind of need to shift everything forward a day, or if I have, for example, I'm 4 weeks out away from a big event and I'll have a really big milestone weekend, like a big run Saturday, a big run Sunday, like I had with the 250k prep where I had a 50k Saturday, 50k Sunday, for example. So I try and always protect one day for rest within the context of a week. Otherwise, all of this volume, all of this intensity would probably become a bit overbearing and I'd struggle to manage. So that is essentially an overview. As I have said, this is kind of the next 4, 6, 8 weeks for me. I'm kind of somewhat just building back into the flow of things. With this structure, what we're going to do is really highlight where I've got more work to do, where I've got less work to do, and what I need to focus on as we get more and more specific towards the end of September, when I'm going to give my best effort towards a sub 3 hour marathon. So just a reminder, link in description down below for a sample week of the Strength of Marathon training plan, which is where a lot of the structure and base of this comes from. Biking and swimming are not in there,
but they're in there for me because I just want to enjoy biking and swimming over the summer. But that is essentially what my hybrid training split for keeping my top end strength or building my top end strength alongside training for a sub 3 hour marathon looks like currently. I'm going to head for my swim. Every morning I like to park myself right here, sometimes a little bit further up depending on how busy the lane is, and I open my phone for the first time each day so I can review my Whoop data. I always start by being punched in the face with whatever my recovery score is, which today was 36%, can be improved, but what I always try and do is highlight why and where it can be improved. In bed 21 minutes later than I normally would be last night, asleep from 21:51 to 5:29 this morning, normally up at 5:30 every day, but normally in bed by 9:30 every day. So sleep score 74%, a little bit down, can improve my recovery, improve my HRV, improve my overall day-to-day functioning by going to bed a little bit earlier tonight. I'll then check the health metrics, because if the breathing rate component is a bit elevated, then I know that I need to be careful and keep my inhaler close by, because that normally indicates that I'm going to have a bit of a flare up if so, which can happen. Other than that, what I like to do with this is basically keep an eye on what metrics are a result of what habits, and then track those in my favorite feature, which is the journal. I'll kind of just give a bit of a feeling on how I'm waking up that morning in terms of excitement, general feeling, general energy. Track it in the journal. Whoop builds that over time, and then I can review that quarterly, monthly, weekly, however I want to do it, so that I can use that information, track my habits, track my patterns, understand what works well for me, what doesn't work well for me, and most importantly, take action to change it. This is not gospel. This is not an outsourced decision-making tool. This is one component of many that you can consider to improve your day-to-day lifestyle, habits, morning routine, evening routine, training, nutrition, sleep, etc., etc. But it only works if you take action on the data presented to you. So if you would like to have that data presented to you and get your first month of Whoop for free, then use the link in the description down below and let me know how you get on. Okay, first swim in a while, 6 by 1200 meters, all moving pretty well, around 146, 147 per 100 pace, which is decent. I will admit that I left my goggles and swim cap at the office on the way here, so this has been quite an expensive swim thus far, but all in all feeling pretty good, which is awesome. First time I've actually used this outdoor pool setting, and I'm very much enjoying it. It's kind of best of both worlds, open water / pool, and I'm actually just really happy to be back in the water. It's been a while since I've swam, and I don't feel like there's been much of a drop-off, which is pretty exciting. I've got a bit of travel to Spain coming up in June, so I'm looking forward to getting into the ocean, albeit as I recondition myself to my irrational fear of sea monsters.